When it comes to analyzing the housing market, a lot of people tune into the national news to understand what's happening. But as the old adage goes, real estate is all about location, location, location. And that's true with housing trends as well. So let's dive into what's happening in the Triangle region of North Carolina as of the end of September 2024. Of course, this is going to be just a blip in time, but if you're a buyer considering a move to the region, I've got a bunch of great news for you. But before we dive in, my name is Matt Martin, and I'm a Raleigh-based realtor. I've helped tons of clients, just like you, relocate to the Triangle region of North Carolina, and if you're looking to do the same, I'd love to help you too. I can't tell you how many times I talk to potential new clients who express concern that the housing market is about to crash, or that they're going to end up in a bidding war with 50 other people and have to pay tens of thousands over ask, or that there just isn't any inventory, so why even bother looking? And a lot of these concerns are fueled by national headlines, but the Triangle region of North Carolina is its own market that even has micro markets within it, and our trends don't necessarily follow the national averages. So let's start with probably the biggest concern I hear, and that's that prices have increased too much, too quickly, and the market is now crashing. So why not just wait to buy? I want to break that one down. First, is the market in and around Raleigh crashing? Well, let's take a look at the year-over-year numbers, and for this video, I'm going to focus in on single-family homes in Wake County, which is home to Raleigh, Cary, Apex, Holly Springs, and Wake Forest, just to name a few. Right there at the very top, you can see that the median home price hasn't crashed at all over the last year. In fact, it's up 4.1% year over year, and currently sits around $555,000 versus $535,000 at the same time last year. So no, the market isn't crashing. But if you look closer at that graph, you may see that there were periods over the last year where prices did come down. So let's talk about that. First, there's seasonality. I made a whole video all about the best time to buy in the Triangle, which you can find here, and my research showed the prices can swing as much as 8 to 10% within a year, typically reaching their lowest points in the wintertime and peaking around June. So that explains some of the drop. But then there's also that pesky mortgage rate that's been taunting the market over the last couple of years. Let's zoom out and look at the interplay between interest rates and median home prices over the last 10 years. Here, the blue line shows you median single-family home sales prices in Wake County, while the orange dashed line shows the average mortgage rate. What do you notice? You may see that there's a delayed inverse relationship between the two. So when interest rates go down, a little thereafter, we start to see prices go up. And when interest rates go up, we'll usually see prices start to come down. Nowhere is this more true than when rates started to plummet in 2019 and housing prices skyrocketed. But then the start of 2022 flipped things around, and as rates started to skyrocket, prices started to plummet, right? Not so much. In Wake County, prices did come down somewhat, but not nearly as much as the national headlines would suggest. And we're currently sitting at a higher median sales price than we ever had during the days of 2 and 3% interest rates, showing the resilience of the Triangle market. Okay, so it's not crashing, but it's going to crash, right? Well, if we zoom in on the graph, you'll see that rates have started to come down recently. And mind you, this data is from before the Fed announced its 50 basis points rate cut. So that 6.5% rate you're seeing here is now closer to 6%. So if history repeats itself, then we'd expect to see that inverse relationship between rates and pricing to start coming into play, meaning prices will likely start to creep back up. Of course, we are going into the historically slowest time of year where prices naturally fall, so we may see a bit of delay on housing prices rising. But either way, I don't foresee the market crashing based on historical trends. So, despite higher interest rates, prices have continued to climb across the triangle. Does that surprise you? If so, the numbers show that you're not alone. If we move down to the next Wake County stat, we'll see that total closed sales are down 11% year over year, from over 1,100 in August 23 to about 990 in August 24. Why would that be? It may be easy to immediately point to mortgage rates, but rates were already over 7% in August of last year, so that doesn't fully explain it. I think we can point to two factors. One is that many people have only paid attention to the national housing trends instead of local market trends and are of the belief that prices are coming down, so they're better off waiting. That's why it's so important to get hyper-localized when looking at the housing market. Another reason may be the election, which typically instills a bit of uneasiness into the market and sees more people sitting on the sidelines. So what about sellers sitting on the sidelines, not wanting to give up their 2% and 3% interest rate? Could that be contributing to the lower sales volume? Not quite, as we've actually seen a nearly 1% increase in new listings year over year. That's great news, as the triangle has historically had a real inventory issue. So to see new listings creeping back up is fantastic news for buyers. And since more sellers are listing and fewer buyers are buying, that means more homes are sitting on the market longer, leading to even more inventory. Overall, we had 3.7% more homes on the market at the end of August 24 as compared to the previous year. That means that buyers had nearly 80 more homes to choose from across Wake County than just a year ago. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but it's a step in the right direction. So this all inevitably leads to questions about competition and the fear that many buyers have of bidding wars, paying over ask, and large due diligence payments. And here's where I have even more good news for buyers. On average, homes are sitting on the market for 15 days versus 12 last year, a full 25% increase. That means that on average, buyers have more time to make a decision about their purchase, and the chances of bidding wars and stiff competition have come down. That's also reflected in the average sold price versus list price ratio, which now sits at 99.3% versus 99.9% last year. That means that a year ago, an average house listed for $500,000 was pretty much selling for $500,000. But today, it would go for about $3,500 less. Again, these are not huge numbers, but they are showing that competition is slowing down and the average person is not paying over ask for a home in Wake County. Now, of course, if we revisit location, 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 the perfect home in the perfect location, in perfect condition, that's priced perfectly, well, that's still going to be competitive. But I've got a lot of strategies for how to win in those situations. Now, those are just the county's averages, but as I keep saying, real estate is hyper-local. So based on the city or area you're interested in, the numbers may look significantly different. For example, homes in Holly Springs only spend an average of 9 days on the market, while Garner sits at 18 and Wake Forest at 19. Homes in Cary are still selling on average for list price, and active inventory is actually flat to last year there. So make sure you're working with a real estate professional who understands the nuances of the myriad of communities across the triangle and how they may play into your ultimate chances of getting that house of your dreams. So it doesn't seem like the market has crashed or is on course to crash. Buyer demand has softened, inventory has increased, competition is down, days on market are up, and the average home sells for less than asking. That's all great news, right? Yes, but as I mentioned earlier, interest rates are on their way down and we'll all be through the election cycle in a few short weeks, which should remove that layer of hesitancy from buyers' minds. So what am I expecting to see as we head into 2025? Well, with 70 plus people moving to the triangle every single day, those lower interest rates are going to revitalize demand and bring some competition back to the market. What remains to be seen is how our supply side will keep up with that increased demand. Sellers have already gotten back to listing their homes, but will that continue? Well, if prices continue to rise in response to the lower interest rates and higher buyer demand, I think we'll see a lot more sellers getting off the sidelines and cashing out. So that's your market update for September 2024. What stood out to you the most? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're ready to take advantage of falling interest rates and reduced competition and want to kick off your house hunt in the Raleigh area of North Carolina, I'd love to be your guide. You can reach me by phone, email, or text, and you can find all my contact information in the link down below or by scanning this QR code right here with your phone. And if you liked this video, I have a whole catalog of others all about moving to, living in, and buying real estate across the Triangle region of North Carolina. Here's another one here that you may like, so give it a click to keep on watching.